going to be touching on the topic of colors in the context of Gary Okihiro's book Margins and Mainstreams, which I have right here. So the question that Okihiro poses in this book that I think really affects Asian Americans throughout history and Asian Americans today is the question, is yellow black or white? So I'm going to be approaching this question from both a racial and a cultural angle by sort of nitpicking maybe what this question means and then giving you guys what I think is the answer to the question. So let's start with approaching what Okihiro means by the term white. Generally, white refers to people of Anglo-Saxon ethnicity. However, we know that white also applies to people of European descent. Well, obviously there are multiple reasons to why this transcontinental white identity exists. However, I do think a part of it is the social phenomenon of the yellow peril. How to define yellow peril? It is basically the fear of Asians taking over the world. Pretty legitimate fear. But now getting back to what white actually means. So culturally, white has actually in history been deemed as a sort of social status that you can obtain. For example, on driver's licenses, there used to be a W on there indicating whether or not you were white. And a lot of Asian Americans actually had this symbol because they had proven their whiteness by assimilating into white society. Well, generally looking at terms such as white man's burden and white supremacy, a word that is often used to describe whiteness is civilized. Often associated with the term civilized is wealth, or having been able to receive an education, or of Christian faith. It can be a different amount of things. Now let's move on to what the term black means in the context of Okihiro's question. Black racially usually refers to people of African descent. However, it can also generally apply to people of color. In history, black is often referred to as a minority, something that is the opposite of white, something that can never obtain that social status of white. Often associated with the term black are the ideas of violence, poverty, and masculinity. Unfortunately, these stereotypes are still present in American society today, as I'm sure you all can thoroughly tell. So the question is, which is yellow? Okihiro claims that while yellow is of course neither black nor white, yellow can be seen as a shade of black. And he definitely has really good evidence for this claim because people who are deemed yellow and people who are deemed black do have a very common history. African Americans have the history of slavery, and Asian Americans have the history of coolieism. And coolies is the term for Asian slaves. Yes, Asians were enslaved as well. These racial categories also had trouble with legal naturalization in America. African Americans, for example, did not get legal naturalization until 1870, and Asian Americans didn't get legal naturalization until 1952. And of course, all of those feelings of not really belonging anywhere in America, receiving a lot of racism and bigotry because of your ethnicity. Okihiro basically claims that people who are yellow and people who are black have been pitted against each other in the competition of achieving whiteness. So my opinion on this idea is similar to Okihiro's. Yes, I do believe that definitely people who are considered yellow and people who are considered black do have a shared history. But I do not believe that they are, as Okihiro calls them, kindred people. I do believe that white should be white, yellow should be yellow, and black should be black. If we say things like yellow is a shade of black, that kind of takes people of color and puts them all into this one huge category, and then takes people who are white and puts them into another huge category, which kind of makes white seem colorless. White is a color just as much as yellow and black is. White people also have racial identity issues, receive a lot of racism, and have a lot of issues figuring out who they are in terms of their ethnicity. I do not think that yellow should be categorized with black. I think that yellow, black, and white, of course, all in the context of Gary Okihiro's question, should all be separate entities. The answer to this question should be neither. So comment below with anything that you have to say about this video. I would love to hear your opinions, and I will see you until next time. Bye!